Chapter 41 The Ant Army returns, with terrifying stone reserves, and its strength increases again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After instructing the ants in the territory of the high-level monster to pay attention to safety and hide themselves, and continue to watch the high-level monster's movements, Mo Fei cut off contact with them. At this time, Mo Fei had some expectations in his heart, and at the same time, he once again raised the idea of speeding up the improvement of his ant tribe, because now there are two powerful monsters, just 10 kilometers away from his territory. Who knows when they will find their own territory. Of course, if these two monsters can fight each other to a draw, the ending is the best. But what if it's not? What if the fight between them affects their own territory? So, I must prepare early. In addition, if these two powerful monsters really fight each other to a draw, for Mo Fei, although it is a great opportunity, but this opportunity is based on the strength of his ant tribe, there are countless low-level and high-level monsters in the misty forest. If these two powerful monsters really fight each other, I am afraid that I can't even drink a mouthful of soup without strength. At this time, sleepiness came. Mo Fei couldn't stand it anymore. After closing the mine net, Mo Fei came to his new bedroom on the first floor and lay down. I don't know how long it took. In a daze, Mo Fei received the message from the mine net. His 1 million ant tribe army finally came back from collecting wood. After receiving the message, Mo Fei turned over and got up. Go to the balcony on the first floor. I saw dense dark redwood entering my territory one after another. Under these dark redwood pieces, holding up the wood pieces, were his army of millions of ants. Respected leader, we have brought back the wood. That the army of millions of ants stood still on the grass, forming a huge formation, with their front jaws raised, holding up pieces of wood. Good job, soldiers. Mo Fei looked delighted. He turned and went downstairs. Mo Fei pointed and put the wood held up by the army of millions of ants into the warehouse. In the warehouse, there were suddenly 110,000 units of wood. Add to that the wood in the warehouse before. Now, there are a total of 131,143 units of wood in Mo Fei's warehouse. The territory upgrade to level 3 requires only 10,000 units of wood, and now, Mo Fei has 130,000 wood. It has far exceeded the wood required for the territory upgrade. Soldiers, you have worked hard this time. Looking at the millions of ant tribes on the grassland, Mo Fei said with relief, let's eat the fountain of life and rest first. Because it was night, in addition to the interference of thick fog, Mo Fei specifically ordered the ant tribe to march slowly and try not to make too much noise. Therefore, the millions of ant tribes went there to collect wood resources. It took nearly 6 hours to go back and forth. At this time, there were only more than 2 hours before dawn. It is our duty and honor to serve the leader. The millions of ant tribes sent back a message and responded, transporting wood and collecting wood. At this time, they also consumed a lot of body weight. Under Mo Fei's command, teams of ants climbed into the Fountain of Life pool and consumed the Fountain of Life to replenish their bodies. Soon, in less than 10 minutes. The army of 1 million ants had all consumed the Fountain of Life and recovered their bodies. Mo Fei looked at his two first level fountains of life. The army of 1 million ants consumed them in one wave. The water reserves of the two fountains of life were directly reduced by 200 units, compared with the total 4,000 units of the Fountain of Life. The water reserves were not much. Of course, Mo Fei knew that this was because his two fountains of life were all upgraded to the first level. The effect of the spring water in curing fatigue and recovery was greatly enhanced. At the same time, his army of 1 million ants only consumed the Fountain of Life to replenish their bodies. Without his orders, they were absolutely loyal and would never devour the Fountain of Life. Therefore, only 200 units of spring water were consumed. It doesn't matter, there is still a lot of spring water. You guys devour it. At this time, looking at the two springs of life, there are still 3,800 units of spring water left. Mo Fei directly ordered the army of millions of ants to devour. At the same time, during the time when Mo Fei took a short rest in the building, the two first-level ant barracks produced nearly 100,000 ants for Mo Fei. 100,000 were produced from the barracks to the ants. Ant high-level soldiers. The number of marching ants, there are more than 90,000. Good luck. The probability is higher than 10%. Mo Fei ordered these 100,000 ants, plus 90,000 marching ants, to join the queue of devouring the Spring of Life. your ants are devouring the fountain of life, and your energy points are increasing. Your energy points +1, your energy points +1, +1, +1. While 100,000 ants were happily devouring the fountain of life, in Mo Fei's mind, the reminder of the increase in energy points kept ringing, and the two first-level fountains of life, the water reserves of the springs, were also visibly decreasing. An hour passed. In the end, all the ants were devoured and completed. The reserves of the two fountains of life are only 800 units. At this time, as the leader, Mo Fei's energy points also increased by 3560/10,000. The energy points directly increased by more than 3,000. This is equivalent to killing at least 700 first-level wild monsters. Open the leaderboard. At this time, Mo Fei discovered, the territory ranking of my own garbage unit has directly reached the 4th place in the ranking list. In front of Mo Fei, there are only the Thunder Bear territory, the Undead Disaster territory, and the God of Night territory. At this time, even Mo Fei himself was shocked by himself. Mo Fei originally thought that, my own ant clan level is too low. If I focus on collecting resources and upgrading my territory, I will soon be squeezed out of my leader ranking. Without thinking, I woke up. He only allowed 100,000 ants to swallow up a wave of the fountain of life. He led the ranking and jumped directly to 4th place. And originally, Mo Fei felt that he needed 10,000 energy points to upgrade, and he was far away from the 3rd-level leader. At this moment, it no longer seems so out of reach. Close the ranking list. Mo Fei clicked on the territory ranking list. At this moment, the territory ranking list, upgrade the territory of the intermediate village, and no longer only own the territory of the garbage unit. The top 10 territories in the rankings have appeared. All levels are intermediate level villages, but Mo Fei's garbage troop territory still ranks first in the rankings. Mo Fei then opened the ranking of military units. I found that there was not much change in the ranking of military units. Ranked first is still the Undead Disaster territory. However, the level of his unit, the Undead Bone Dragon, has been upgraded by 1 level, reaching the 5th level of the unit. Chapter 42 New Troops, the Mist Ants. A flood of ants, frightened wild monsters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Close the ranking of military units. Mo Fei smiled and shook his head. The ranking of military units is a competition between the lords who have awakened high-level military units. It has nothing to do with himself, a lord who has awakened the ant army. At this time, Mo Fei glanced and saw that the thick fog in the misty forest seemed to be lighter. Then he suddenly remembered, just before he went to bed. Send a group of hundreds of thousands of ants out to devour the mist. I don't know how it is devouring now. Mo Fei used the mind net to summon the ant army outside the territory. At the same time, he opened his military unit panel. This time, Mo Fei's eyes showed a hint of surprise. I saw that there was an additional high-level ant army on the military unit panel. Mist Ant Army, Mist Ant, Ant Tribe High-Level Army. Final Growth Level, Level 4. Introduction. After swallowing too much mysterious fog, the evolved Ant Tribe Auxiliary Army has average combat power. Through breathing, it can create fog that interferes with vision, and can also recycle the created fog through breathing. Hundreds of thousands of evolved mist ants were summoned in front of Mo Fei. After Mo Fei gave the order to create fog, I saw that wisps of fog began to float out of the mouths of these hundreds of thousands of mist ants. It only took a few minutes. The fog exhaled by hundreds of thousands of mist ants covered their bodies completely. This fog is very magical. It will not be blown away by the wind. The range of coverage is only the area where hundreds of thousands of mist ants are staying. Under the thick fog, even Mo Fei, who was close to hundreds of thousands of fog ants, could not see the silhouette of the ant army under the thick fog. There was only a thick fog area in sight. Even if Mo Fei opened his eyes wide and wanted to see what was hidden in the fog, he still couldn't see anything. Mo Fei was shocked. Although it is an auxiliary type of soldier, the ability of the fog ant is very strong. It is definitely a sharp weapon to ambush wild monsters or other lord soldiers. After sighing, Mo Fei gave an order to let the fog ants collect the fog. Now, the territory is still in the novice protection period and is invincible. Mo Fei is not in a hurry to place fog in the territory. It is less than an hour before dawn. The thick fog gradually dissipated. Mo Fei decided that when the night falls tomorrow night, he would send more undead ants out to the territory to devour the thick fog. When the number of fog ants increases and the novice protection period is about to end, it will not be too late to place thick fog in the territory at that time. His ant army has been busy all day, Mo Fei is going to go back and make up for his sleep. Let them rest. By the way, after giving the order to rest, Mo Fei went upstairs to make up for his sleep. Unconsciously, I slept for half an hour longer. When Mo Fei woke up, it was already 6:30 in the morning. Come to the balcony of the first floor. The thick fog of last night has receded. There is only a light layer of thick fog in the forest. Looking through the novice protection shield, Mo Fei can even see, on the green leaves, there are transparent dewdrops, which reflect colorful light under the sun. The air is so fresh. Looking up and taking a deep breath of fresh air full of green life, Mo Fei exclaimed in intoxication. On the green grass downstairs, the number of ant army has increased a lot at this moment. After washing, Mo Fei came to the grass. Soldiers, have you rested well? The ant colony with a number of more than 2 million formed a square array. Dear Lord, we are waiting for your dispatch at any time. Okay. Mo Fei nodded. Today's goal is to collect stone. The ant colony responded, yes, Lord. However, before that, we need to first kill the acid mud monsters in the mud pit 10 kilometers east of the territory. Mo Fei shouted, now, follow your instructions. The first square formation on the left, 20,000 ants, as the pioneers of the wayfinding. Your task is to meet up with the 2 undead ant companions who are looking for stone resources, and find a safe route for the army behind. Now, let's set off immediately. Mo Fei's voice fell. Among the 100,000 undead ants in the first square formation on the left, a 20,000-strong army immediately emerged. Afterwards, they left the territory and headed west of the territory. Then, Mo Fei looked at the remaining 10 ant square formations. 100,000 undead marching ants is a square formation. There are 3 phalanxes of first-level and second-level immortal ants. There are 2 phalanxes of mist ants. The remaining 14 phalanxes are all first-level immortal ants. Mo Fei swapped the positions of the phalanxes. The mist ants were placed in the center, protected by 14 first-level immortal ant phalanxes, and then the front, back and surrounding of the ant colony were 2 phalanxes of undead marching ants and first-level immortal ants. Okay, let's go. Let's start hunting. With Mo Fei's voice, more than 1 million ants gathered into a torrent of ants. They marched towards the woods east of the territory. In the woods in the early morning, the air was particularly fresh. At the same time, it seemed particularly peaceful. But under this peaceful appearance, dangers were lurking everywhere. A spider quietly hung down from the tree, and then began to weave its spider web, preparing to hunt its prey today. On the treetop, an early-rising first-level sharp-beaked bird was standing on the branch, searching for its food this morning with sharp eyes. In the dew-covered grass by the river, there were 2 amphibious fish holding harpoons, with bulging eyes motionless, staring at a first-level spotted-tailed hyena not far in front of them, and just as the ant army was advancing, in the bushes, 2 first-level blue wolves were preparing to hunt passing prey. At this moment, suddenly, a black torrent rolled over on the green grass. The 2 first-level blue wolves were stunned, and a hint of doubt appeared in their fierce eyes. It seemed that it didn't rain last night. Where did the flood come from? The torrent was extremely fast and soon reached the front of the 2 first-level blue wolves. When they saw the face of this black torrent clearly, in the narrow eyes of the 2 first-level blue wolves, confusion suddenly turned into fear. With a wail, they turned around and ran with their tails between their legs. What kind of torrent is this? It was obviously a bunch of black ants, and they were quite big. However, before the blue wolves ran far, the black torrent caught up with them. Thumb-sized ants followed their feet and tails and climbed onto their bodies. In the blink of an eye, the 2 first-level blue wolves were swallowed by the black torrent. Wait for the torrent to pass. There were only 2 white wolf skulls left on the ground, rolling on the grass. A first-level black bear was biting its prey. A first-level black wolf. A rustling sound suddenly came from behind. The black bear was very dissatisfied with the sound that disturbed its eating. He turned around and looked at the source of the sound fiercely, and when he saw the thing behind him that made the sound clearly, his fierce eyes instantly became extremely Docile, and he didn't even care about the 5th-level black wolf that had eaten less than half of its food on the ground. He landed on all fours and ran forward desperately. I saw black ants with huge front jaws crawling by quickly. The black bear was caught up by them after running a few steps. The black ants opened their sharp and huge front jaws and bit down fiercely, and the black bear roared angrily. His speed was only slowed down a little bit because of the bites of the undead marching ants that climbed onto his body. He was caught up by more and more marching ants. The roar soon turned into a wail. Then, he was swallowed up by the black ant torrent. Chapter 43, The 4th-level wild monster fled at the sight of the wind. Stone Mountain Reserve. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Whether it is a 1st-level blue wolf or a 2nd-level black bear, whether it is a snapping turtle hiding in the bushes, a blood lizard under the moss, or a wolf spider on the tree roots, everywhere Mo Fei's 2 million ant tribes passed, they were all bones. Even some wild monsters did not even leave bones. On the treetops, 2 3rd-level Keely birds saw the black torrent on the ground, made a sharp cry, and quickly flapped their wings and flew away. A 3rd-level hurricane wolf saw the rolling black torrent, tucked its tail between its legs, and fled far away. This is a group of ants. When the number reaches a certain level, it brings a terrifying deterrent. Even a 4th-level bull, after seeing the black torrent, was stunned for a second, and quickly avoided it. Don't want to provoke this group of ant army. Your ant tribe devoured a 1st-level blue wolf, your energy points +4. Your ant tribe devoured a 2nd-level black bear, your energy points +22. Your ant tribe devoured a 1st-level blood lizard, your energy points +3. Your ant tribe devoured a 2nd-level alligator turtle, your energy points +17. In the territory, prompts kept coming from Mo Fei's mind. At this time, the water reserves of the 2 life springs were restored to 900 units respectively. Mo Fei, who was letting the ants just produced by the barracks devour the life springs, smiled slightly, through the spirit network, even if he did not leave the territory. Mo Fei could also see the scene of his own ant army rolling through the forest like a torrent through his perspective. This is the terrifying part of the ant tribe. Mo Fei sighed. When the number reaches a certain level, even if the level is 2 or even 3 levels higher than them, it can still be a deterrent. Especially when there are high-level ants with strong aggressiveness among these ants. If my undead marching ants have more number and the level is upgraded to level 4, I am afraid that those level 5 and level 6 monsters will run away when they encounter my ant army. Turning back to the small building, Mo Fei opened the space trading channel and spent 3 units of wood to exchange for a piece of 1st-level blue wolf meat as his breakfast. At the same time, he searched for stone. 1 night passed. At this time, there were a lot more stalls trading stone. There were more than 600 stalls. At the same time, the exchange rate of stone also dropped slightly. The exchange rate of stone and wood has dropped to between 1 minute and 2.5 seconds and 1:3. Obviously, the 2nd day of the novice period, with the increase in the number of arms, more territories have the ability to mine stone. In addition, many territories are also in urgent need of wood to upgrade their territories. The demand for wood has increased, so the value of wood is also increasing. Mo Fei originally wanted to trade a wave of stone and upgrade his territory to a high-level village, but after a look, there are only more than 4,000 units of stone sold in 600 stalls. There is still a long way to go from the 10,000 units of stone required to upgrade a high-level village. You interrupted this idea. Anyway, his ant tribe has found a stone resource, if it can be mined smoothly next. Then he has stone, so there is no need to buy it in a hurry. Wait until the stone is mined. Then see how much is left, and you can buy it according to the situation. After closing the space trading channel, Mo Fei brought the meat to the kitchen, then switched to the spiritual network and contacted the 2 immortal ants who discovered the stone resource area last night. There is now a light mist in the forest. Switching the perspective to the 2 immortal ants, Mo Fei finally saw the appearance of the stone mountain. That's right. In Mo Fei's sight, the stone resource area discovered by his immortal ants is a small stone mountain. The stones here are almost all granite. Such a stone mountain, it is more than enough to mine 20,000 units of stone. Mo Fei made a thorough estimate. Then, he gave instructions to the 2 immortal ants. Soldiers, send one of you back immediately to the place where you separated from the troops yesterday. There, I sent a 20,000-strong army, waiting to join you, and be sure to bring them here. Received, lead the people. The two immortal ants responded. One immortal ant stayed where it was, obeying Mo Fei's instructions and continuing to explore the environment of this small stone mountain. The other immortal ant returned along the same route. Mo Fei used the spiritual network to pay attention to the environment around the immortal ant to prevent it from having any accidents on the way back. At the same time, he grilled the wolf meat. The wolf meat was grilled and breakfast was eaten. Waiting for the time for the immortal ant to meet with its ant vanguard, Mo Fei opened the world communication channel. Has everyone got up? Did you sleep well last night? The one upstairs, you are so cool, you can still sleep until now. What a ghost. There were ghosts howling outside my territory last night. I couldn't sleep all night. I feel like I'm going to die. There were huge black shadows flying over my territory last night. There was also one that circled over my territory. I looked at it. It was a huge black dragon with wings and a hideous head. Its eyes were terribly red. I suspect it has set its sights on my territory. Is this true? Do you have to be so scary? The one above, run away. Oh my God, I was planning to wait until there were more soldiers today, and then go out to level up secretly at night. After hearing what the one above said, I don't dare to go out at all. Listen to me, don't go out at night if you don't have some strength. I sent soldiers out to level up last night, and my 2 ghouls were killed. What the hell? Ghouls are not dark soldiers, so their strength is enhanced at night. That's it. Enhancement, my ghouls are only level 1, and they were wiped out in less than an hour. I don't even know what killed them. Damn it, what a loss. Haha, the one above, you are unlucky. My skeleton soldiers went out last night and dug up an epic level mutant crystal. According to the introduction, they were embedded in the barracks. I don't know what happened. Fuck, the one above is so lucky that he went out to pick up epic level materials. Hee. Haha, I was lucky last night. My dark bat went out and attacked a nest of Kirby foxes, and killed a 2nd level Kirby fox. On the World Communication Channel, some people suffered heavy losses last night and regretted it, while others picked up epic materials and were complacent. At night, high risks really come with high returns. Mo Fei looked at the 130,000 pieces of wood in his warehouse and smiled slightly. His income last night seemed to be good. In addition, he accidentally discovered that the fog in the misty forest could also be swallowed, and a group of auxiliary soldiers of the ant tribe, the Misty Ants, mutated. By tonight, the number of his Misty Ants can double again. At this time, Mo Fei moved slightly and felt the message from the ant tribe army in the east through the spirit network. They have reached the edge of the quagmire. Looking through the perspective, the ants who returned to the connection are not in any danger for the time being. Mo Fei changed his perspective, the scene in front of him changed, and he appeared at the edge of a muddy pond covered by a faint mist, the muddy pond from yesterday. Bubbles popped up from time to time in the muddy pond under the mist, and it looked like it was boiling. There was a green meadow around, and dewdrops were still hanging on the green leaves. Chapter 44 Kill the acid mud monster and advance to the next level, Acid Army Ants. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I looked at the environment around the quagmire and saw that the grass beside it was growing lushly. Mo Fei's heart moved. The ants of fog, go to the 3 meters of grass south of you to create fog. Remember, clear the grass there to make a path out, and cover the entire ground with fog. Leave only that road without fog. That road is the entrance for the swamp mud monster to enter the trap. The immortal marching ants, the 2nd order undead ant army, is still the 1st, the 2nd order undead ant army. Now you go hunt a few 1st order wild monsters. Remember, don't devour them. Bring their corpses to this grassland. The remaining legions, clear a piece of grass in front of you. Once the cleaning is completed, hide them all in the grass next to the open space. The ants cooperate in separate groups. In less than half an hour, the army of undead marching ants returned carrying the bodies of 4 first-level wild monsters. Their bodies were covered in blood and flesh, and even 2 of them were still breathing, and they let out pitiful groans from time to time. However, All of them have lost the ability to move. Mo Fei's hunting ground has also been decorated, close to the edge of the quagmire. All the grass is made of mist created by the fog ants. The fog is much thicker than the mist on the grass, but who would know that these thick fogs are created by a group of ants? At most, I feel that the fog here is thicker, which is a bit strange. What's more, Mo Fei also deliberately left a spacious feeding path for the acid mud monster in the quagmire. There is no fog on this road. Following Mo Fei's instructions, the immortal army ants dragged several first-level monsters from the edge of the quagmire to the open space, leaving a long trail of blood on the grass. It exudes a strong smell of blood. Then, under Mo Fei's instructions, an army of 50,000 undead marching ants and an army of 40,000 second-level undead ants were all hiding in the thick fog on the edge of the quagmire, waiting for their prey to take the bait. Sure enough, when the fresh and strong bloody smell of the first-order wild monster floated along the wind to the sky above the quagmire, the number of bubbles in the quagmire suddenly increased, and become more and more dense. Mud water rolled, an acid mud monster covered. Only in mud emerged from the mire. Their eyes were looking greedily in the same direction, the open space next to the quagmire where the first-order wild monsters were. At the same time that the corpse of the first-level wild monster was discovered, a few acid mud monsters that were relatively close to the quagmire eagerly climbed onto the shore. It turns out that this creature is not very intelligent. After climbing ashore, these two acid mud monsters did not take the path Mo Fei deliberately left for them. I chose to go directly through the grass covered with thick fog. Of course, their situations can be imagined. In the thick fog, several of Mo Fei's strongest ant armies were deployed, the immortal marching ant army and the second-level immortal ant army. After a few acid mud monsters entered the thick fog, they never came out again. Not even a sound was made. However, their deaths and the remaining acid mud monsters in the quagmire are not clear. Soon, there were more and more acid ooze monsters, unable to stand the temptation of the bloody smell emanating from the first-order wild monsters on the shore. One group after another climbed onto the shore. Without knowing it, many acid mud monsters chose to walk through the grass covered with thick fog. Welcome them. It's the second-level undead ant army hunting the army of marching ants who are hiding in the thick fog and have been thirsty for a long time. Your ants swallow the first-level acid mud monster, and your energy points +1. Your ants swallow the first-level acid mud monster, and your energy points +1. Energy points +1 +1 +1. Reminders kept ringing in Mo Fei's mind. As Mo Fei expected, these first-order acid mud monsters are not very intelligent and not very strong. Their only attack stage is to spit out highly corrosive acid, but they can't spit out more than a few mouthfuls. Therefore, the energy points given by swallowing are pitiful. But, the reason why Mo Fei chose acid mud monsters as the target for leveling was not because he wanted to devour them and get the pitiful little energy points. A large number of acid mud monsters, more than 3 in number by visual inspection, climbed onto the path opened by Mo Fei, came to the open space, next to several first-order wild monsters. However, they haven't eaten yet. The grass on both sides shook, and countless rustling sounds sounded. Then, densely packed ants quickly rushed out from the grass. Before many acid mud monsters could spit out the acid, ants the size of a thumb climbed onto their bodies and bit them hard with their sharp front jaws. Click, click. In the blink of an eye, all the acid mud monsters in the open space were eaten away. Not even the bones were left. At this time, at the intersection, the acid mud monster that was still crawling forward saw this scene. It made a long and thin sound of fear. Many acid mud monsters at the front want to retreat. However, at the edge of the quagmire, there was still a steady stream of acid mud monsters crawling out of the quagmire. They can't retreat at all. For a moment, the group of acid mud monsters fell into chaos on the road. Seeing this scene, Mo Fei's eyes flashed. The acid mud monster has already sounded a warning sound. We can't let these guys escape back into the quagmire. Kill it while it's sick. The marching ant army, the second-level immortal ant army, destroy all the enemies who come ashore. Mo Fei ordered immediately, let the army ants hidden in the fog and the second-level undead ants attack. The acid mud monsters behind had just climbed out of the mud and had not yet reacted. I saw black ants with heads thicker than thumbs and 2 huge pincers on their front jaws suddenly rushing out from the bushes filled with thick fog on both sides. The undead army ants quickly climbed onto the bodies of these acid mud monsters at lightning speed. In 1 minute, all the acid mud monsters were covered with a layer of black armor made of ants, extending all the way to the mud. In less than 5 minutes, Mo Fei's ant tribe devoured all the acid mud monsters on the shore. Even some acid mud monsters that were close to the mud and did not have time to dive into the mud were not spared. Mo Fei's army ants directly built an ant bridge of about 2 meters, extending to the surface of the mud. These acid mud monsters that failed to dive in time were also devoured. Your undead ants devoured the acid mud monsters, and their energy points increased. Your undead ants developed acid resistance and began to evolve. Your undead army ants devoured the acid mud monsters, and their energy points increased. Your undead army ants developed acid resistance and began to mutate. Your undead ants evolved into acid ants. Your undead army ants mutated into acid army ants. Some of your acid army ants have gained energy points through devouring, and their level has been raised to level 2. Just as the ant army devoured all the acid mud monsters that had landed, a prompt suddenly sounded in Mo Fei's mind: window_tabula equals window_tabula .push mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula below article feed, placement, below article feed, target_type, mix. Chapter 45 Acid Ants, Gain New Abilities. The leader of the acid mud monster appears. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As the prompt sounded in his mind, Mo Fei opened the troop panel. At this moment, there were 2 more troop types on his troop panel: Acid Army Ants, and Acid Death Ants. Army type, Acid Army Ants, Advanced Ant type, Mutation. Final growth level, Level 4. Introduction: a high-level troop type of the ant tribe, a troop type that mutated from the high-level ant tribe, the Death Army Ants, which devoured the first-level creature, the acid mud monster. Acid Army Ants perfectly inherited all the advantages and characteristics of the Death Army Ants. They have huge and sharp front jaws, are extremely aggressive, crawl very fast, and have the self-healing talent of the Death Army Ants. They have a certain acid resistance. At the same time, they also have the ability of the Death Army Ants: spray acid. Acid spray. The abdomen of the acid army ant has mutated into a poison sac full of acid. When facing the enemy, they can spray highly corrosive acid. Army, Acid Army Ant. Final growth level, Level 4. Introduction: a high-level ant tribe, evolved from the high-level ant tribe, the Dead Ant, which devoured the first-level biological acid mud monster. Acid Army Ant perfectly inherited the talent of the Dead Ant and has a certain acid resistance. At the same time, they also have a special ability: spray acid. Acid spray. The abdomen of the Acid Army Ant has mutated into a poison sac full of acid. When facing the enemy, they can spray highly corrosive acid. After reading the introduction of the Acid Army Ant, Mo Fei showed a happy look on his face. Sure enough, I guessed right. If the probability is high enough, then we can make up for it with quantity. As long as we devour enough quantity, even if it is a first-level wild monster, my ant tribe can also obtain their abilities. Spray acid. It is my ant tribe that has acquired new abilities after devouring a large number of first-level acid mud monsters. It is a little regrettable. It seems that the growth level of the acid mud monster is too low, while the level of my Dead Army Ants is relatively high. Therefore, after devouring the acid mud monster, my Dead Army Ants only mutated, and the final growth level did not increase, and it is still only the 4th level. However, there are a few dead ants that have evolved into acid dead ants after devouring the acid mud monster, and the growth level has increased from the 3rd level to the 4th level. It is the same as the growth level of the Acid Army Ants. There is another thing that makes Mo Fei happy, whether it is Dead Army Ants or Dead Ants. After acquiring the ability of the acid mud monster to spray acid and evolving into acid ants, they all retain their previous military talents and characteristics. For example, the acid army ants still have sharp and huge pincers, strong attack power, fast speed, and the most important self-healing talent. In addition, they also have a certain acid resistance. At this moment, it can be seen that the few army ants were also corroded by their acid in the battle with the acid mud monster and suffered minor injuries. However, they mutated into the acid army ant queen. The injuries on their bodies recovered faster than those of ordinary dead ants. In addition, although from the size, there is no difference between these acid army ants, but according to the prompts in the mind, Mo Fei knew that after devouring a large number of first-level acid mud monsters, a few acid marching ants had enough energy points to upgrade to the second level. The strength of the ant colony has been greatly enhanced. Soldiers, this battle was well done. Mo Fei praised the ant colony through the mind network. This is the affirmation of his own troops as a lord. Our mission is to fight for the Lord, the ant colony responded. In the territory, sitting on the balcony on the second floor, basking in the sun, after looking at his Lord panel, Mo Fei nodded with satisfaction. After a battle, his energy points have soared by more than 1,000. In addition to the wild monsters that were swallowed during the march, at this moment, his energy points are 4802/10,000. He is only about half the energy points away from upgrading to a third-level lord. After this battle, all the first-level acid mud monsters have all drilled back into the mud pit and dared not to show up again. Mo Fei was also ready to withdraw his troops and leave this mud pit. I don't know how long it has existed, there are a lot of acid mud monsters in it. Wait for 2 days, let's relax our vigilance. I will send the ant army to practice again, that's quite comfortable. Just when Mo Fei was preparing to issue an order to withdraw the army and join the vanguard troops looking for wood resources to collect wood, at this time, the mud pit suddenly changed. I saw a huge bubble suddenly emerged from the mud pit, blowing away the mist above the mud pit. Then, the mud water began to roll, as if it was boiling. In the boiling mud water, a huge acid mud monster with a head of about 2 meters slowly emerged from the mud pit. Looking at the ant colony on the shore, this huge acid mud monster, with 2 blood-red eyes on its head, let out a sharp and piercing cry. After the huge acid mud monster let out a cry, then, I saw that the acid mud monsters that had just drilled into the mud pit all drilled back to the surface of the water. Led by the huge acid mud monster, densely packed first-order acid mud monsters rushed towards the ant army on the shore. Seeing this scene, Mo Fei's expression changed slightly. From the huge size of this acid mud monster, it's difficult for Mo Fei to judge, but he should be the leader of these first-order acid mud monsters in the quagmire. But seeing this huge acid mud monster, it seemed that it was going to lead S brothers to rush to the shore again to fight with their own ant colony. Mo Fei couldn't help but sneered. He quickly ordered the ant army hiding in the grass to move. If he were in the quagmire, Mo Fei would definitely have nothing to do with the leader of the acid mud monster. However, if leads his brother, he rushes to the shore. That's easy to say. You know, even the 4th-level wild monsters have to retreat when they encounter their own ant army. Coincidentally, my ant clan, with a small number of army ants and dead ants, has just evolved and mutated into acid ants, and its level has also been improved. Take this acid mud monster leader and try out the ant colony with improved strength. Under Mo Fei's order, the ant army in the grass did not move. Only about 200,000 army ants and second-order dead ants stopped at the edge of the quagmire. As soon as the huge acid mud monster led his brothers to approach the shore, Zhang sprayed a large pool of acid. Strongly corrosive acid falls from midair like rain. The army ants and dead ants avoided each other, but there are still a few ants who dodge and are corroded by the acid. The acid sprayed by this giant acid mud monster is obviously comparable to the acid sprayed by the first-level acid mud monster just now. I saw the ants stained by the acid, and many of their bodies were melted by the acid on the spot. Even the self-healing talent failed to work. Only this acid liquid comes. The 200,000 ant colonies Mo Fei left on the shore had at least several thousand casualties. Seeing how terrifying the acid mud monster was, the ants turned around and ran away. And how could the acid mud monster let go of these escaping ant colonies? A strange cry. To deal with these weak ants who had killed countless of their own brothers, the leader of the acid mud monster took the lead and rushed out of the mire. Zhang was brewing, and he spat out a large amount of acid at the fleeing ant colony ahead. Chapter 46. Destroy the acid mud monster's lair and kill the acid mud monster king. Evolve Agai. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As soon as they washed up on the shore, the leader of the acid mud monster brewed for a while, and then spurted out another large amount of acid, but this time, the ant colony was prepared. This acid liquid fell. Only 2 ants were drenched in acid. Even the leader of the acid mud monster was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect these weak ants to be so flexible. But soon, its confusion was replaced by anger. Looking at the ants killing its offspring, the acid mud monster let out a sharp roar and charged forward. Looking at it like this, it looks like it will eat up all the ants here and vow to stop. At the same time, in the quagmire behind the leader of the acid mud monsters, countless densely packed first-order acid mud monsters also climbed to the shore. The quantity is at least more than 100,000. I saw this scene through the mind net. Not only was Mo Fei not afraid of the ants who had just lost thousands of people, but there was a hint of excitement in his eyes. Unexpectedly, there were so many first-order acid mud monsters in the quagmire. This time, my own ant army has evolved by devouring it. The ants on the shore intercept their retreat. Let them never come back. That when all the acid mud monsters in the quagmire rushed to the shore, Mo Fei immediately issued an order through the psychic net to the ant army hiding in the grass on the shore to intercept their retreat. Immediately, he issued a counterattack order to the dead marching ant legion, which had just followed his orders and escaped, and to the 10 ant legions hiding around the open space. March ant level dead ant, your target is the leader of the acid mud monster. In addition, the 9th and 13th dead ant army, you will assist the marching ant army in attacking the leader of the acid mud monster. The remaining legion, surround and suppress the first-order acid mud monsters, and let one of them escape. After receiving the order, the army of marching ants that had been running away just now suddenly turned around. In the unbelievable eyes of the leader of the acid mud monster, he launched an attack on it. The ant army, numbering more than 100,000, rushed towards the leader of the acid mud monster. Before the acid mud monster sprays acid again, climb up its body. At the same time, there were dense rustling sounds in the grass. Countless ants rush out. Divided into 2 groups, a wave of 300,000 ants followed the army of marching ants and climbed onto the huge body of the leader of the acid mud monster. Another wave of 10,000 ant army, together with the 100,000 army that cut off the acid mud monster's retreat, surrounded and suppressed the 100,000 acid mud monster. Large open space. Everyone in the room is an ant tribe. There are so many, it seems endless. Like a tide, they rushed towards the acid mud monster, which only numbered 100,000. Even if it is a level 1 wild monster, facing so many ants, it is impossible to escape. Some acid mud monsters, before they had time to spit out a drop of acid, were already covered with more than a dozen ants. They lie on the acid mud monster, open their sharp front jaws, and bite like crazy. More acid mud monsters were swallowed up by the ant tide before even a drop of acid could be sprayed out. Some ants even ran a little slower. I didn't even drink the soup. Under Mo Fei's instructions, the ants, numbering approximately 100,000, turned around and joined the attack on the leader of the acid mud monster. A dead army ant opened its pincers that were larger than its size and bit into the body of the leader of the acid mud monster. What is it like to be bitten by hundreds of thousands of ants at the same time? I believe no one has more say than the leader of the acid mud monster at this moment. The heartbreaking pain came. At this moment, no part of the acid mud monster leader's body was bitten by ants, including its organs, eyes, and other places. Everything is covered with ants. There is no place where I feel pain. There are even many ants who have found their way to the next place because of the leader of the acid mud monster. If you want to get through the ground, attack the acid mud monster from under it. Pain. 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 Huge pain. The acid mud monster almost collapsed. It fell quickly. It rolled back and forth vigorously on the ground, trying to crush and flatten the bugs crawling on it. Throw them off. However, it's no use. An ant's sharp pliers have penetrated deeply into the body of the leader of the acid mud monster. They seem to grow out of the acid mud monster leader, and have merged with the acid mud monster leader. Even if there are ant pincers holding the minced meat of the leader of the acid mud monster and throwing it to the ground. More ants filled its vacancy. The leader of the acid mud monster finally suffered from this huge pain and let out a painful cry. But the ant soldiers are never kind to their enemies. As soon as the leader of the acid mud monster opened his mouth, several ants crawled in along his organ. These ants, which it had always regarded as food, now took the initiative to enter its mouth. But it can enjoy it. An ant was wreaking havoc inside its mouth, biting everywhere. They bit a hole in its mouth, more ants crawled in outside. About 10 minutes passed, the huge body of the acid mud monster leader finally stopped moving and was completely submerged by the ant colony. Your ant tribe devoured the elite wild monster of the first level, the acid mud monster king. Get energy points plus 15,000. Your dead ants devoured the acid mud monster, and the energy points increased. Your dead ants have acid resistance and begin to evolve. Your dead army ants devoured the acid mud monster, and the energy points increased. Your dead army ants have acid resistance and begin to evolve. Your dead ants evolve into acid ants. Your dead army ants mutate into acid army ants. The energy points obtained by your acid army ants are full, and the level is upgraded to the first level. The energy points obtained by your acid ants are full, and the level is upgraded to the third level. The energy points obtained by your acid army ants are full, and the level is upgraded to level 3. Your acid army ants evolve, and the final growth level is upgraded to level 1. Your current level energy points are full. Please open the Lord panel, upgrade the Lord level, and continue to obtain energy points. In his mind, a series of prompts sounded. Mo Fei was stunned for a moment, then, it was ecstasy. Chapter 47, Energy Point Surge, rising 2 levels in a row. Level 4 Lord. You are listening at MTnovel.audio. This time, destroy the lair of the acid mud monster. The results achieved are huge. Although this battle resulted in the loss of approximately 0,000 ant soldiers, the number of injured ants is even greater, almost around 100,000. But in Mo Fei's opinion, it's totally worth it. Because, in this battle, my ants swallowed a total of about 100,000 acid mud monsters. There are more ants that evolved into acid immortal ants. At this time, the number of ants that have evolved into acid immortal ants is about 20,000. 50,000 undead army ants. After devouring the level acid mud monster king, 50,000 undead army ants have evolved into acid army ants. At the same time, after devouring the level acid mud monster king, the growth level of the acid army ants has been raised to level 5. Not to mention, after devouring the acid mud monster, many undead ants broke through to level, or even level. Including the evolved acid army ants, there are about 2,000 acid army ants. After devouring the acid mud monster king, their level has also broken through to the level. So, although it seems that in terms of numbers, his ant clan has lost tens of thousands, but, the overall strength of my ant colony has become stronger. As for the injured 100,000 ants, their injuries are slowly recovering due to the effect of their self-healing talent. As long as you give them some time, their injuries will heal on their own and they can continue to fight. At this time, through the web of the mind, one can see that no acid mud monster has climbed out of the quagmire. Mo Fei ordered the ants who had just fought to rest for a while, then returned to complete the order. Mo Fei opened his own Lord panel. On the Lord panel, Mo Fei's level is, Lord level, can be level plus, energy points, 10,000/10,000. Click the plus sign after the level. A golden light appeared on Mo Fei. After the golden light disappears, Mo Fei's Lord level has been raised to the level. Then look at your own energy points. Lord level, can be level plus, energy points, 100,000/100,000. Behind the Lord level, there is a plus sign of level again, prompt that you can become a level and level Lord again. Mo Fei was slightly surprised, but think about it carefully. This battle is coming. Just by killing the level acid mud monster king, I gained 15,000 energy points. Not to mention that in addition to the king of acid mud monsters, his ant colony also swallowed nearly 100,000 first-order acid mud monsters. Although the first-level acid mud monster is very weak, swallowing one will only give you 1 energy point. However, there are more than 90,000 first-order acid mud monsters. After all, I have more than 90,000 energy points. Mo Fei was immediately relieved. Click the level plus sign again. A golden light appeared again on Mo Fei. After the golden light, Lord Mo Fei is leveling up. Raised to the level of 2 steps in a row. At this time, Mo Fei can clearly feel the huge changes in his body after level. The 6-pack abs that were originally not very obvious are now very clear. Not only that, Mo Fei can feel that his skin has improved. Some of the little spots on my body have disappeared, replaced by smooth and elastic skin. In addition, Mo Fei could feel that his muscles now became very powerful. Every cell seems to contain invisible powerful energy. This energy allows him to easily break a tree as thick as a bowl with 1 punch. In addition to these obvious physical changes, Mo Fei also found that his perception of the surrounding environment became more delicate. Looking through the golden novice protective shield, he could clearly see a black spider hidden in the bushes. Species, hunting tarantula. Level, first level. Even Mo Fei could feel the moist breath of earth and the breath of life in the breeze blowing over his face. Is this the benefit of equal promotion? Mo Fei murmured to himself as he clenched his fists, feeling the surging power in his body. A satisfied smile appeared on his face. In this world of lords, a level lord is nothing, but as long as his ant clan can devour enough wild monsters. The wild monsters swallowed are powerful enough. As the lord, my strength will also increase and become stronger. After a simple rest, the ant army embarked on the road back to its territory. Mo Fei came to the grass square where he led. At this time, the number of ants produced by the barracks has reached another 500,000. But now, Mo Fei is already a level lord. Ant colonies don't need to be close. From a distance of 5 meters, you can swallow the lord's aura emanating from Mo Fei. After swallowing Mo Fei's breath, the 500,000 ants, under Mo Fei's instructions, all climbed into the pool of the Fountain of Life and began to devour the Fountain of Life and evolve. The current water reserves of the 2 springs of life, it has been restored to 1080 units. It is more than enough for the 500,000 ants to devour and for the 2 million ant army returning from the expedition to recover their strength. When these newly produced ants swallow the Fountain of Life, Mo Fei opens the network of the soul, contacted the ant that found the material resources and returned to meet with the ant vanguard troops he sent out. Where are you? Mo Fei switched perspectives. He saw the environment in which this ant soldier was located. At this moment, his ant soldiers seemed to be in a narrow mountain road that stretched out. It should be a mountain road formed by mountain torrents. Because both sides of the mountain road were covered with huge jagged rocks, there were no particularly tall trees around. What caught Mo Fei's attention was, at this time, the mountain road where his ant soldiers were passing was full of a strange green plant. Their green roots and stems were intertwined and covered the entire surface. These strange plants basically only had a few large green leaves. Above the leaves were huge petals that slowly opened and closed, as if they could breathe. What made Mo Fei feel a little creepy was, these petals slowly open and close. When they open and close, you can see that the inside of the petals is covered with densely packed tiny spikes with barbs. From a distance, they look like moving mouths. Chapter 48, Living Strange Plants. The only way to the stone resource area. You are listening at MTnovel.audio. At this time, returning to join the ant soldiers, crawling through the countless intertwined green rhizomes on the ground, Mo Fei suddenly noticed, these green rhizomes, like vines, seemed to move, because 2 thick green rhizomes blocked the way forward for his ant soldiers, and just now, there were no 2 thorny rhizomes here. In addition, Mo Fei also saw a strange scene. Under these vine-like green rhizomes covered the ground and covered with thorns, there seemed to be a thick layer of white bones. He just seemed to see a beast thigh bone. These strange plants, are they alive? Mo Fei was a little shocked, but before Mo Fei thought about it carefully, respected lord, we are almost there. Go through this plant area and walk about 1 kilometer, and you will reach the place where you separated from the main army yesterday. At this time, the ant soldier stayed in place for a long time, and the tentacles on the front jaws gently shook, carefully distinguishing the smell he left yesterday, and replied, this behavior is a bit strange. As an ant, you will leave a smell where you pass. However, at this moment, this ant soldier will take a long time to distinguish the smell he left behind, before this, because he was worried that the ant soldier would be in danger on the way back to join the army. Mo Fei's perspective stayed on this ant soldier for a long time. There has never been such a strange behavior before. Basically, as long as you pass by this place and stay for a while, you can distinguish the smell you left behind. Why? Mo Fei noticed the strange behavior of the ant soldier and asked. Strange, you left a smell here yesterday and disappeared. It's not disappearing, it seems to have moved to another place, but you didn't go there yesterday. The ant soldier sent a message, looking at these strange plants around. Mo Fei's eyes were a little alert. Did you pass through here yesterday? Yes, Lord, the ant soldier replied affirmatively. Can you still distinguish the way you came now? Mo Fei asked. These plants feel a little weird. Mo Fei paused and ordered, don't worry about the smell you left behind, speed up and pass through this area. Yes, Lord. After receiving Mo Fei's instructions, the ant soldier no longer hesitated or stopped, climbed directly to the root of the plant covered with thorns. Fortunately, the straight-line distance of this area full of strange plants is only about 1,000 meters. After speeding up, the ant soldier passed here safely. After leaving this area full of green vines, the ant soldier only took about 5 minutes to find the scent mark he left yesterday. Adjusting the perspective, Mo Fei looked back. I saw this strange plant area behind the ant soldier. At this moment, all the plants opened their petals, revealing the dense and sharp barbs inside. Mo Fei was horrified. Is this strange plant area the only way to the place where you found the wood resources? Mo Fei asked. Yes, Lord. You and another companion who found the wood resources, we too passed through it yesterday. The ant soldier answered. Mo Fei's expression sank slightly. I always feel some bad premonition. He was not wrong just now. This strange green plant area, under the roots of these strange plants, are the bones of wild monsters. This road is the only way to the wood resource area. If we bypass this road, there are rugged trees on both sides, which makes the road more difficult to walk, and the wood collected by the ants must be transported back. We can only take this road. Mo Fei calculated in his mind, finally decided, no matter how strange these plants are, his ant army still has to go here. It may not be a problem for the ant army to bypass the road and climb over those rugged trees. At most, it will consume more energy. The problem is that his ant army has to transport the wood back to the territory. During this transportation process, the ant army is the load-bearing wood. We must find a safe, economical, and passable road. The ant tribe vanguard troops that Mo Fei had sent out to explore the way had been waiting at the meeting place for a long time. After this, ant tribe soldier returned and joined the ant tribe vanguard troops numbering 20,000. Then go down and let them try to pass through the strange plant area just on the road. At the same time, when the sun rose to the top of the tree, the sunlight shone through the dense leaves in the forest and shone on Mo Fei's green grass territory. The 2 million ant tribe troops that went out to hunt also returned to the territory. Soldiers, you did a good job in today's battle. Mo Fei stood on the grass and praised the returning warriors. You are very brave. When facing the 4th-level acid mud monster king and nearly 100,000 1st-level acid mud monsters, they showed their courage and fearlessness. Not a single ant soldier retreated. Even if their companions were corroded by acid and died, they would still step on their companions' corpses and attack the powerful king of acid mud monsters. It's because people are not afraid of death and have courage. Only then can we achieve huge fruits at a very small cost. Fight for your lord. It's our glory. The ant army answered. Mo Fei nodded and got off. Injured soldiers, give priority to drinking the fountain of life to treat your injuries. The remaining soldiers, you have also consumed a lot of your body. Go to another fountain of life and eat the fountain of life to replenish your body. I'll leave the task to you later. Yes, Lord. The ant army separated. The injured soldier's injury was actually not as serious as it was at the beginning. Under the effect of the self-healing talent, their injuries have almost healed, but they are just a little weak. The army began to drink the fountain of life to restore their health. The reserve of the spring of life is visible to the naked eye. When the 2 million troops were finished eating, the reserves of the 2 first-level springs of life were directly reduced to less than 500 units. Only 463 units of Fountain of Life. This also made Mo Fei sigh with emotion. Although the strength of the ant tribe is strong, at the same time, after the level is upgraded, when treating and replenishing the body, the consumption of the Fountain of Life is also increasing. In the final analysis, the number of Fountain of Life buildings is too few and the building level is too low. As a result, the spring water reserves are insufficient and the ant army becomes stronger. Upgrading the territory level is inevitable for me. Respect your Lord, we have finished replenishing our bodies. Please, Lord, give us a new mission, that at this time, drink the Fountain of Life to replenish your body and ant army, and your fatigue will be gone. They formed a formation and stopped in front of Mo Fei. Every ant is full of energy, eager to try. Even when it was just born from the barracks, it only swallowed 500,000 ants from the Fountain of Life. At this moment, a huge formation is also automatically formed, ants one by one, looking forward to Mo Fei. Wait for Mo Fei to give them instructions. Good, Mo Fei nodded, then get off. Next, you only have one mission. That means leaving no stone unturned and exploiting the newly discovered material resources. Then safely transport the materials back to our territory and build our territory even stronger. Chapter 49, The Territory of the Man-Eating Plant. The Dead Ants and Mo Fei's Rage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Always support the wise Lord. Obey the Lord's orders. Build your territory and make it stronger. All the ants were very excited and showed great enthusiasm. Yes, they exist, is to obey all the orders of the Lord, and is responsible for helping the Lord and developing the territory more powerfully. Okay, let's go now. Mo Fei gave the order. Immediately, an army of more than 2.5 million ants set off in a mighty manner. And after the ant army set off, Mo Fei opened the spiritual network. At this time, the 20,000 ant vanguard troops, led by the ant soldiers who discovered the stone resources, had come to the strange green plant area on the mountain road. Lord, can we go directly? The ant vanguard stopped cautiously outside the green plant area and asked. Wait a minute, send a team over first to try. Mo Fei thought for a moment and spoke. From the 20,000 ant colony, an ant troop of 200 was immediately separated. Then, we entered the green vegetation area. Mo Fei's perspective also switched to the 200 ant troops. 10 minutes passed, this ant army successfully passed through the green vegetation area. Mo Fei finally let go of his inner feelings, slightly relieved. When this ant army passed through this strange green plant area, Mo Fei's eyes were always observing these plants with huge strange flowers. According to the time when the ant tribe troops passed by, the rhizomes of these plants move quietly on the ground, and bloom with flowers covered with fine barbs. Mo Fei is basically sure, these plants are alive, they sense creatures that enter the area where their roots are. At the same time, Mo Fei had roughly guessed it, these plants should be a kind of piranha that grows in the misty forest. After sensing the creatures that enter their territory, the piranha should hunt the creatures that enter their territory. The white bones of wild monsters found earlier are proof. Past, it should be that my ant clan is too weak, which attracted the interest of these piranhas. They didn't do anything to their own ant clan. At this time, watch the ant tribe team pass safely through piranha's territory. Mo Fei also breathed a sigh of relief. This mountain road is the only way to collect and transport stones. If these piranha flowers block the path of the ant army, then Mo Fei may have to find a way to destroy it, and then collect the stones to upgrade the territory. But destroy the piranhas, and it's within Mo Fei's current plan. Because, Mo Fei's plan, it's tonight, before night falls, to collect enough stones to upgrade the territory. This is for Mo Fei and his ant army, clearly a challenge. Time is very precious to Mo Fei. Naturally, he is willing to waste time on destroying these man-eating flowers. After this ant clan team safely passed through the piranha territory, Mo Fei was also relieved. The team passed safely, there is no danger. You can set off now. Pass. When passing through the piranha territory, you still have to be careful and try to pass as quickly as possible. Mo Fei immediately ordered. let your vanguard troops quickly pass through the piranha's territory, prepare before the subsequent ant army comes, let this vanguard force of the ants rush to the granite mountain first, explore the details of Stone Mountain, after arriving with your own ant army, you can directly mine the stone. Yes, Lord, the vanguard troops numbering 20,000 responded, then he entered the territory of the piranha. However, when this ant vanguard force entered the hinterland of the piranha territory, a sudden change occurred. Get out of here quickly, Mo Fei, who had been observing the movement of the piranha through the spiritual network, suddenly issued an order to the ant colony. But, it's still too late. This ant colony numbering 20,000 has not even reacted yet. The green roots they were stepping on suddenly began to slide rapidly. In the blink of an eye, a green vine wall formed, trapping the ant army in the middle. This is not over yet. After the woven vine wall surrounded 20,000 ants, those huge flowers that slowly opened and closed suddenly moved. Several tree stems supporting huge flowers suddenly bent down, and huge petals fell directly above the 20,000 ant tribe. The petals covered with dense barbs directly swallowed up thousands of Mo Fei's ant soldiers when they opened and closed. Their petals seemed to secrete a very sticky mucus. Once Mo Fei's ants are stained with mucus, they have no power to resist. Several huge piranha flowers quickly swallowed up all of Mo Fei's 20,000 ant clan as soon as the petals opened and closed. Watch this scene through the web of the mind. At this moment, Mo Fei froze on the spot. They have forgotten to continue issuing instructions to their ant troops. Certainly, even if he gave the order, it would be useless. The movement of these piranhas is really too fast. Mo Fei and his ant troops were not given any time to react. The thorny roots on the ground are traps they have carefully laid. Once you fall into them, there is no way to escape. Even Mo Fei himself did not think about it. These carnivorous plants are so smart. They let go of the 200 ant squads that he had sent to explore the way. They set their sights on the fat meat of the 20,000 ants behind him. As the 20,000 ants were devoured by the carnivorous plants, Mo Fei completely lost the connection between his mind network and them at this moment. The next second, Mo Fei's face slowly darkened, the perspective switched to the 200 ant squads. Looking at the carnivorous plant territory in front of him, he showed two cold lights in his eyes, and laughed in anger. I originally wanted to provoke you, a waste of time. But now it seems you are looking for death. At this moment, what stone collection plan, Mo Fei has thrown behind his mind. The only thought in Mo Fei's mind, is to avenge the 20,000 ants who died in vain because of his wrong decision. Window_tabula equals window_tabula .push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target_type, mix.